Following Erusea's takeover of San Salvacion and the meteorite interceptor Stonehenge, members of the UTO discussed plans to form a military alliance capable of countering Erusea's military forces. With no sign of Erusea backing down, the newly formed military coalition, ISAF, carried out an airborne operation to destroy Stonehenge. However, the mission failed, and the massive loss of aerial power forced ISAF to evacuate from the mainland to North Point. Despite failed efforts to eliminate the remaining ISAF forces stationed at North Point, Erusea deployed their invincible Aegir Fleet in order to deliver the final blow.
Set off as soon as we're ready. Full speed ahead once we're underway.
I think this calls for a little history lesson.
The Aegir Fleet was the largest and most powerful fleet division in the Erusean Navy. It earned the nickname the Invincible Fleet due to it being the most highly skilled, equipped, and trained division during the Continental War. The Erusean Navy also boasted that the Aegir Fleet was untouchable and unsinkable from any form of enemy attack. Now, a quick side note before I talk about the ships that made up the fleet. Ace Combat 4 incorrectly classifies all destroyers as cruisers and all frigates as destroyers. This mistake was also copied into Ace Combat 7, so in order for me to remain accurate to the Strangereal canon, I will be classifying the vessels the same way they are classified in the games. This is to help clear up any confusion when I show an image of a frigate and refer to it as a destroyer. So let's continue on. 36 vessels made up the entire Aegir Fleet. 9 Cassard-class destroyers, 1 Lafayette-class destroyer, 9 Hatakazi-class cruisers, 7 Los Angeles-class submarines, 1 Ticonderoga-class Aegis cruiser, 1 Kitty Hawk-class aircraft carrier, 2 Pegasus-class missile boats, 2 Toyota-class supply ships, 2 landing ships, 1 container ship, and finally, the flagship of the invincible Aegir Fleet itself, the Tanager, an Iowa-class battleship equipped with 9 16-inch 50 caliber Mark 7 guns, along with additional armaments to take out enemy vessels. Now, this is an unusual choice because most flagships in modern Strangereal navies are aircraft carriers, due to it being a massive mobile air base with superior firepower. Since the Aegir Fleet has one aircraft carrier, the Geophon, that ship would have been the preferred choice. However, this isn't the case. One possible reason why Erusea chose the Tanager to be the flagship was the battleship's intimidating appearance. Despite being outdated compared to modern military vessels, you can't argue that a battleship aiming its large guns can be an awesome and intimidating sight on the battlefield. Another interesting note to point out is that the captain of the Tanager, Matthias Torres, had an affinity to naval gunfire and marksmanship. This is reflected by his achievement during the Eusian coup d'etat, where he hit an enemy ship 30 kilometers away in the middle of a storm as the Hearn's gunnery officer.
Fire away! Hell yeah! Well done!
So if Torres can achieve a feat like that in a destroyer during the middle of a storm, imagine what he could accomplish with a single battleship. This is probably just one reason as to why the Tanager was designated as the flagship. Although the Aegir Fleet is well remembered for its role during the Continental War, and when one of its ships, the Hearn, took part during the Eusian coup d'etat, any additional information regarding the Aegir Fleet is unknown. Despite this lack of information, I can guess that the Aegir Fleet may have performed humanitarian operations after the asteroid Ulysses made planetfall on the Eusian continent. The location where the fleet could have provided the most aid would have been Farbanti. The fleet could have helped out with rescuing citizens trapped in the sunken municipal district, and helped set up refugee centers around the capital. But regardless of what they were doing, the continent would be thrown into war in the year 2003. During the early stages of the Continental War, ISAF's naval force did not engage the Aegir Fleet. Any attempts to fight the Erusean navy head-on would have been suicide. However, the Aegir fleet was not ISAF's main priority. ISAF's first goal was to destroy the Erusean-controlled Stonehenge, since its anti-asteroid railguns were very capable of shooting down planes. A special attack force made up of 24 veteran pilots flying F-15C Eagles and F-15E Strike Eagles were tasked to carry out this daring airborne operation. As the fighters approached the facility, the AWACS accompanying them detected 5 unidentified signatures headed towards them. It was the infamous Yellow Squadron. The 5 Yellows proceeded to eliminate all 24 ISAF fighters. The complete failure of the airborne operation allowed the Eruseans to advance to the east unhindered, occupying the city of Los Canes and Ista Fortress. The remaining ISAF forces retreated from the mainland and regrouped at its new GHQ in North Point. With the mainland overtaken, Erusea needs to destroy the final GHQ at North Point in order to win the war. At the time, the Aegir fleet was stationed at Farbanti since Erusea didn't need their naval fleet to eliminate ISAF's weak military. Instead, a large bomber force stationed at Wrigley Air Base was able to slip through ISAF's radar and was heading to Allenfort and the remaining GHQ on September 19, 2004. However, the tide of war would favor ISAF, as the new recruit Mobius 1 and all remaining ISAF fighters intercept and destroyed all Erusean bombers over Newfield Island. Soon, Mobius 1 and ISAF began to win a string of small victories, destroying the remaining bombers at Wrigley Air Base and assisting the ground forces trapped on the mainland, allowing them to regroup at North Point without being detected by enemy radar. Proving to be more resilient than before, Erusea deployed their invincible Aegir Fleet, where they will travel to North Point and deal a lethal blow with its immense firepower. But during the journey, the Aegir Fleet needed to dock at Comberth Harbor. Sometime before November 7, 2004, the fleet docked at Comberth Harbor and began to refuel and resupply. Understanding the threat the Aegir Fleet posed, ISAF carried out a multi-operation campaign focused on delaying the fleet's resupply efforts. Operation Hunting Hawk's objective was to secure the airspace around Comberth Harbor and destroy the Erusean transport planes attempting to deliver supplies. Later on, November 19, 2004, Operation Early Bird focused on neutralizing the nearby petrochemical complex that supplied the fleet with fuel. Although the operation was a partial success, Erusea lost 5 million barrels of reserve crude oil and the ability to process 250,000 barrels daily. As a result, the Aegir fleet was immobilized in Comberth Harbor. The success of Operation Hunting Hawk and Early Bird left the Aegir fleet stranded and relatively defenseless in Comberth Harbor. This gave ISAF the upper hand it needed to organize a final operation.
We will launch a surprise attack on the Aegir fleet while it lies immobilized at Comberth Harbor. This large-scale airstrike will be the largest and the most strategic operation since the transfer of HQ to North Point. You may need to resupply along the way because this operation will be long in duration. Remember, it is imperative that you complete the mission objective and return to base safely.
November 23, 2004, 12 o'clock p.m. Fighters launched from ISAF Navy aircraft carriers arrive at Comberth Harbor airspace. They will partake in the final mission of ISAF's three-pronged campaign, Operation Rough Seas. AWACS Sky Eye gives the order to the pilots: sink the invincible Aegir fleet while they're at anchor. Mobius 1 spots his targets at the main docking facility to the west. He begins his attack. The rest of the pilots either follows him or split off to attack the fuel and ammo dump stations at the submarine docks. The crew aboard the Fenris, Kolga, Hearn, and Lazuli are unaware of the incoming attack. Mobius 1 makes quick work of the unsuspecting warships. He moves on to attack the remaining warships and support vessels spread across the harbor. Panic sets in as the crew on the remaining ships realize what was happening. Erusian fighters were deployed and immediately engaged the attackers. The airspace was littered with ISAF and Erusian planes fighting ferociously while warships sank in the harbor. Captain Matthias Torres managed to lead a detachment of the Aegir Fleet's capital ships past the bridge. Torres was going to attempt to escape to open waters. Mobius I quickly pursues the fleeing ships. The warships return fire, but Mobius I flies through the barrage of bullets and anti-air missiles.
Carrier Geophon sunk. Cruiser Beluga sunk. Aegis-class Raven sunk.
He was able to inflict significant damage to the Tanager, Geophon, Raven, and Beluga. While the Tanager was taking in water, Torres refocused his efforts on rescuing as many sailors as he could from the sinking ship. Mobius I and the rest of the ISAF fighters continued to eliminate any remaining warships and support vessels stationed in the harbor. The operation was a resounding success for ISAF and would mark as one of the many turning points in the Continental War. Losing both the Aegir Fleet and their dominance on the waters around Erusea, Erusea abandoned their planned assault on North Point. 5 days after the Tanager sank, Matthias Torres was reassigned to the Erusian Navy's headquarters. On December 24th, Torres earned a medal as well as the title the Hero of Comberth Harbor for his heroic act of rescuing his fellow sailors from the sinking Tanager during the battle. With the most powerful and threatening fleet out of the way, the ISAF Navy would begin to take a more active role in future operations. They began to formulate plans to invade the Eusian mainland. ISAF has many more obstacles to overcome if they wish to win the war. However, ISAF's successful three-pronged campaign to sink the invincible Aegir Fleet proves that they can overcome any challenge Erusea throws at them.
If you like this video of Strangereal history, please intercept and destroy the like and subscribe button if you wish to see more Strangereal history videos. As always, my name is Salutus Eversoul, and I'll see you next time. Soul out.